long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
You like me because I'm a scoundrel. There aren't enough scoundrels in your life.
I happen to like nice men.
Nice man.
Very nice.
Solo, we saw his cynicism. So can you make me believe off screen that Han Solo becomes a guy who would run away? Actually, yeah, I can kind of wrap my brain around that.
So everybody, that was Sam Witwer, and he does the voice of Darth Maul and the son of Mortis in the Clone Wars. And he's kind of a beloved voice actor. But that's what he is. He's a voice actor. He's not anybody important. They could hire somebody tomorrow that could do the voice of Darth Maul, and I don't think anybody would know the difference. Okay, there are lots and lots of voice actors out there. There are lots of people who can do it. Simple as a pimple. What he said about Han Solo is basically the Kennedy line. And obviously, he wasn't going to go against it. And I had to call him out for it because he's wrong. Where is he talking about, oh, I don't know, character arc, episodes 3 through 6? You know, I could see why he'd run away. You can? Did you see episodes 3 through 6? 3 through 6 or 4 through 6, or, you know, are you that stupid? It's about character arc. And the fact is, George Lucas had a character arc for Han Solo, and it wasn't the de-evolution of the character. Here he is defending basically the beginning of the problems with Star Wars. Is taking away the essential, one of the essential heroes out of the story completely by devolving him into back to where he was. Okay, because in the mind of the Democrat establishment in Hollywood, people don't change. All right, you know, it used to be they said that, you know, conservatives said that. And I remember when people did say that. There are still conservatives who do that. But as someone who understands how your life's ebbs and flows can affect your thoughts, can affect who you are at any given moment, I am not the person I was at the age of 19. I'm not the person I was when my father passed away. And that 10 years of absolute black hell I went through, not really having any way to mourn, not having anybody to discuss what all it meant to, all right? And it's everybody's right to go through a bit of a personal journey, like every character that matters in Star Wars, and come out being a different person. Come out being the true person you were always supposed to be. And I don't think Sam Witwer ever read the Han Solo trilogy that A.C. Crispin wrote. I don't think he's ever given really a thought to character arc. Now, Why is he saying that? He's saying that to defend the sequel trilogy because he knows if he does that, they'll bring him back to do voices for Star Wars. He won't get himself blacklisted. Does he believe it? I think so. This is virtue signaling by a guy who has absolutely no personal power over his career. Okay. And this is an old video. This is an old interview, and it's part of a bigger interview. And as you're watching it, you suddenly realize that he's basically telling the world probably what he was told to say by his agent. This is what you say in order to keep Miss Kathy happy. And he's wrong. Okay, look, I know you guys, my subscribers, understand how wrong he is. Okay, I don't need to explain it to you in any way, shape, or form because I think you guys know that when you're writing a novel, a film, it starts with a beginning, a middle, and an end. A first act, second act, third act. And you get, and throughout the whole thing, your protagonist, or in this case, Star Wars, the original trilogy, your protagonists are given a journey and challenges that they have to go through, okay? And Witwer, by saying what he said about Han Solo, is really missing the point and missing the character arc, and he's wrong. And why is he missing the point? He's not thinking about character arc, and he's not thinking about how a person goes through life. The reason why stories are interesting, the reason why stories like Star Wars matters, and you want to follow the Skywalker saga, you want to see where Han, Luke, and Leia end up, is because you want to see them as they become mature adults. You're on a journey with all three of them. Okay, you're not just, oh wow, well, that was character, cool, whatever. The reason why these movies now don't work is because the right way of doing it, the character arc, the cynicism. He wasn't a cynic anymore. Okay? That's the problem. After everything Han went through for Leia, because Vader could have put Leia into carbonite. He could have, I mean, and instead it was Han, he did that too. Now, were they given a choice? And if they were, I don't remember a choice being given to who got tortured and who got to watch. But the fact of the matter is, Han did something for Leia that the Han Solo we met at the cantina in A New Hope would not have done. And that is he sacrificed himself for her. And then she turns around with Luke and a repentant Lando and sacrifices herself, her time, and her energy to get him back. And when Luke, Leia, and Lando and Chewbacca go to rescue Han, that is a moment of change. Leia's the change agent. Han, in A New Hope, goes back to get Luke, not just for Luke, but to save Leia. Okay, the idea that Han Solo would just leave at the worst possible moment, after all the shit they've been through together, is typical left-wing. People never change, especially white heterosexual men. You know, it's typical. And the fact that Witwer has to defend it makes him look like a dumbass because he doesn't know character arc. But wait, there's more. Wait till you see what else he said, because it's really going to piss people off. Really and truly.
Hey, guys.
Oh, Gonzo, hey, you want to do a puppet act with me?
Cue the disaster.
What's a puppet?
Oh, well, see,
It's a doll.
Yeah,
It's made to look
it's a doll.
alive by wiggling strings,
Yeah,
or,
strings.
or putting your hand inside of it.
hands, like that.
What a stupid idea. Who wants to watch dolls wiggle?
Well,
I mean, even I wouldn't do an act like that. Doll wiggling, talk about boring.
I didn't have the heart to tell him.
No, stop. Not one more crooked word. Your tongue could open a wine bottle.
I thought one just drew a pentagram on the floor and chanted, I summon thee 3 times.
Okay, I'm going to try to be as honest but also diplomatic as possible. Between stories, if you fundamentally change that character off screen, you invite people to disagree with you. Some people will agree with you. And it depends on what the audience is bringing to the table. There are people that I've talked to who needed to see that version of Luke Skywalker. Perfectly legitimate. But you know what also is legitimate? People who say, this is the guy who saved Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader, like saving Kylo Ren is child's play next to saving Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You know, last thing we saw was a guy who had the level of compassion that it would take to throw down his weapon in front of his mortal enemy and declare, I'm not going to fight anyone. That guy doesn't ever for a moment think about murdering his best friend and his sister's kid.
So here we have Witwer getting a little more involved with Luke, and he's more compassionate to this character. But still, he says, I've talked to people who needed to see Luke that way. And he gives them a way out. He gives them a pat on the shoulder. And it's like, no, dude, you're wrong on that too. And then he explains why what they did to Luke was wrong. Okay. Now, he could just say what they did to Han and Luke is wrong, and the fans didn't like it. And I could see Han Solo leaving without the character arc, without acknowledging what happened in the original trilogy. It's like, shut the fuck up, Sam, right now, without acknowledging everything that occurred. He says that. He turns around and then he says about Luke, well, I can see what I talked to people that needed to see Luke that way. Why even mention them? Why even give them a mention? Why? Because he's doing this for Lucasfilm. This is virtue signaling 101. He knows what Mark said about what they did to Luke. Mark is on camera saying, oh wow, an orphan from a desert planet who has powers she can't that the orphan can't explain, runs into a droid with a secret. Wow. Where, translation, where the fuck has this come up before? Okay. The problem is when you acknowledge the dissing of these male characters from the original trilogy, you're acknowledging that George was wrong. Okay. And, it really just, it absolutely shocks me when I hear people like this. Luke had a character arc. There's no way he would have done that to Ben. And everybody knows it, okay? And Witwer admits that. Okay, so if he's going to say Luke would never do that, why would Han leave? Because what? Han is the one that doesn't evolve as a character, follow his arc. When you watch Return of the Jedi, at the very end, that's the beginning. It is not the end of anything. That is the beginning. It is the end. Well, no, it's the end of the Empire. It is the beginning of the New Republic. Okay, it is the beginning of all their lives. After the long journey they all three went through to get to where they were. Why the fuck would any of them go back? Let's talk about Leia, for instance. When she says to Han, I went back, I did too, when he says, I went back to the only thing I was ever good at. Because what, their son loses his mind? You're like, who wrote this shit? Oh, I know. J.J. Abrams and Larry Kasdan. Neither of them should have been allowed near Star Wars without George Lucas. Ever. Ever. Okay. Ever. Because they did not acknowledge the end of Return of the Jedi. And neither does Witwer. With Han and Leia. Okay? And the thing that I find so disgusting is don't be diplomatic with the people that like this shit. That's weak. Okay? I respect someone when they say, you know, I disagree with you, blah, 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 and they take a stand. I do not respect somebody going, well, I need to be diplomatic. Fuck you! Okay, you're a voice actor. I mean, way to take a stand on anything. You rip apart Han Solo, and by and large rip apart Leia, and then you basically kiss the asses of the Luke Skywalker haters. But then you go back and say, yeah, but bullshit. You weak sauce dickhead. But see, this is the problem the sequel trilogy has. It never acknowledged the end of Return of the Jedi in any way, shape, or form. It was like that end and those journeys that those three characters went on never mattered. Okay. And Sam Witwer, he's just going along with it. This is Steph signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.